afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. Master Propaganda Heroes like Defender of the Fatherland, off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Crossroads. Between the south, we got here Limaoskarmike, who I'll try to call Lum because it's a lot easier to say. Fighting here for America, freedom and democracy with the 2nd Armored Division versus in the north, we got Joris, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland, taking on the role of the 15th Panzergrenadier Division with mechanized, lightning wall and assault support. Panzerfaust infantry mines versus Lima or Lums, heavy cavalry, airborne, and rifle company with infantry and Sherman bulletins, increasing the armoured protection of the Sherman tank through the application of slightly extra bits of metal. I mean, apparently some Sherman crews would actually weld extra armour onto the front of their tanks, creating what was basically more of an improvised jumbo Sherman, though technically there was a bigger difference there between just frontal armour. There's also the side armour on the jumbo Sherman or assault Sherman that was a lot thicker, but you know, some did it obviously would be a lot more than 4% increased armour, but you know, again, they sort of did. There were many sort of ways for crews to overall try and improvise armour, though the efficiency of it are in many cases dubious when it came to sandbags and adding wooden logs and the likes. But we're going to took on this side here for Joris, double rifle for Lum. He's rifling about here and there, so we can see Joris is trying to secure the centre, a bit risky. Also means he's not going to be able to get resources as fast here compared to the opponent. Of course, we can gain control of the centre. It's going to make it a lot harder there for Lum to move about freely on the field. Now, it's probably here what Joris is aiming for. Second grenadier squad there for Joris, mortar away there for Lum. He's obviously again anticipating something happening here, so he's just going to bring up a mortar as fast as possible to deal with those damn Germans. And we can see that Joris is trying to get close, but the problem is with the rifle, they're actually threatening it. He can't easily get there because the risk then the rifle getting close, running around, and just shooting the machine gun to death. So Joris is now using the Pioneers as bait, and I think he's going to shift towards the other house just set up at the victory point. That was at least deal with some of the Americans, but it's certainly putting a bit of a dampener there on Joris's plans. On the other hand, he is using the Pioneers and the threatened machine gun to tap off some of the rifle here for Limaoskarmike, so it's not too bad that we can see that Lum is switching over there, not going to just keep pouring down there, realising, you know, if he's just standing about there, he's doing nothing else. So tactically a very wise decision there, Joris going for a mortar of his own, probably anticipating a mortar, just thinking a mortar is good. I mean, for the Wehrmacht, having a mortar is generally a good thing to have. Pioneers still suffering losses, MD42 doing what he can here, and we got the mortar they're firing away. In the west we got Rifle versus Grenadiers here, though Grenadiers caught in a slightly awkward position, allowing the Rifle to get close as the Grenadiers reposition. So this could end up a bit poorly here for Joris in the west. We'll have to see how it works out. Rifle in heavy cover, Grenadiers in light cover. Up close, the Rifle will also have the advantage. Though it's not quite fully close, the Grenadiers might just have the chance, particularly rather the 2nd Grenadier squad. But like up fully close, the Rifle have twice the DPS of a Grenadier squad. So there are some things that to keep in mind of. MD42 repositioning but not falling back, mortar team moving ahead. In the east there we got Lum moving about those rears and securing more territories. So bit of back and forth here. Both players gaining a bit of ground, but neither side giving up too much either. Lum here could try to take up pretty fast the lieutenant or the captain. As for Joris, he's going to be a bit delayed unless he particularly decides to go for a bit more here. I mean, it is reasonably light tier 1 he's got going here, 2 Grenadiers, an MD42 and a mortar. And versus an aggressive American player, that might just not be enough. In fact, it tends not to be, so you generally want like a 3rd Grenadier squad, or at least another MD42. There's the theoretical 2nd mortar, though that certainly carries its own risk. And there you go, Joris there's going for the 3rd Grenadier squad, more infantry for the 15th Panzer Grenadiers. We got rears standing about, seeing in territory. We got the ambulance away there for Lum, and the rifle are now pummeling the Grenadiers pretty hard. Got the Grenadier over there firing though. Though, much too late there for Joris, instead hits a bunch of old cars, sending scrap everywhere, but no dead Americans. Ambulance almost down there, Lombard not taking up yet, that's essentially the advantage there of Joris. In the west here, Rifle taking fire from the Grenadier for still, but nothing too huge. In fact, the mortar's now going to get overwhelmed. He's got 2 rifle squads threatening it. Ambulance around there for Lum and the 2nd Armoured. Leerson's blasting away, he's got Grenadiers pushing up. He's going to try and threaten Lum around the centre. Without any serious cover, and no grenades are just going to be treated to pull through them, particularly with the mortar there being quite nasty. 3rd shot fight there. Oh, looks like it's going to counter mortar it here. MD42 supporting a Pioneer advance on the field point there, and good hit there by the Grenadier on the American mortar. The American mortar trying to get the Grenadiers, in fact succeeds in doing so. Rifle actually push back here with the double Grenadiers, but the Grenadiers need to retreat soon. Almost got a full wipe there with a mortar. Mortar in the other hand there, still taking hits from German mortar. And there you go, the German mortar gets the American mortar, wiping it out entirely. And Lom here, Skag, got no units except the rear, meaning he has to sacrifice them to deny it to Joris. They're actually quite good there for Joris. Even his opponent gets it back, he's nonetheless forced him to expend one of his infantry squads to secure it. So that's actually quite a loss there for Lom. I mean, that's not a huge loss to say, had he lost it and his opponent stolen it, but that's still pretty bad. MD4 to the securing territory. We had Turco there for Joris. Grenadiers standing about. He might build a medic bunker here first because one of the guns is a bit beaten up. He's got the resources for it. Back here, the captain for Lom. So that's going to be a steward, maybe a pack howard to support himself with further artillery. And obviously, the captain, Captain Jones. Alright, guys. I want all of those Krauts dead yesterday. I don't think we can achieve that, Captain. Shut up. MD4 to the push back. Rifle got the pioneers, we got the centre, got the mortars sneaking about, and we got the grenadiers here holding up the centre house. Though, of course, it's going to be quickly within range of the American mortar team. Of course, the German mortar team might try and once more silence them in the name of the Reich. Back here, medic bunker is indeed up for Joris. Sanitäter. Or Sannies, as they were known. And his mortar so far is doing pretty well there, Joris actually, and wipes the American mortar again. Good golly, Miss Molly. That is some good mortaring. Wow. That never happens for me. Feeling a bit envious of Joris here, but either way though, Joris makes a run here with the American mortar forming up his own mortar battery. And more importantly, gaining an artillery advantage over Lom that is pretty decisive. Though, of course, Lom's going to be able to turn around here with the Stuart light tank, which is going to be quite nasty. But now Lom has suffered some losses there, and it's going to be a bit hard for him to sort of deal with it. But at the same time, the centre's now weakened here, and Lom's going to at least try and take advantage of this, pushing forward with his riflemen as reasonably fast as he dares to. Like to make a nice company up there for Joris and the 15th Panzer Grenadiers, a division that would have been initially fighting in Sicily and Italy, and would be shifted over to the Western Front in preparation for Unternehmen Herbstnebel, or Autumn Fog. Grenadiers caught out in the open by the captain here. The trumpets start machine gun firing in. The rifles also blasting away. There you go. Grenadiers simply overwhelmed, noting he has not upgraded any of his grenadiers to the light machine guns or attempted any of his doctrines. They're up for G43s. So the question is, of course, here, what is Joris planning versus Lom? As for Lom, he's obviously planning a light tank, but beyond that, it's a bit harder to say there. His troops are taking a bit of a beating. He could easily benefit from weapon racks. I mean, he's got a ton of munitions, so the lack of upgrades there is certainly a bit surprising. Got the student up and getting the mortar, catching the Grenadier out in the open, forcing a swift retreat. At least we got the captain flanking about here, and certainly captains with BRs becoming increasingly popular, so I mean, there's plenty of reasons for it there. And there we go, weapon racks on the way there for Lom and the 2nd Armoured Division. Oh, the captain takes a rifle grenade mortar hit as well there. Stuart though striking here in the west, forcing the Germans to collapse the western flank as they got nothing to resist here. In this regard, Joris was too late in taking up, and that has left a very sizable tank-shaped gap in his force composition, which has allowed Lom to well exploit it. So he's going to have to rush out a Pack 40 or some 222s. That's an option as well. But he's obviously going for the Pack 40 that he just wants something to more deal with it. He's probably going to use that and try and take fast ahead for Tier 3. But the Pack 40 on the way there, the Panzer Abwehrkanone 40. Fun fact, as the war progressed, though, the Germans actually moved away from anti-tank guns to Panzerschrecks, or the primary means of anti-tank defense in the division, which included, for example, Full Grenadiers, having very few of them, but instead having, entire anti-tank battalions formed up of Panzerschreck teams, much to their not enjoyment of it, since that basically means you have to get close to the bastards, compared to the Pack 40, we can fire from a reasonably safe distance. There you go, more mortar fire. Joris moving about his mortars very flexibly, keeping them within supporting range, so they can pummel a target to death very heavily. We got a few BAs up here for Lom, and it's obviously using the captain here, since again, the captain very much benefits. I mean, throwing some BAs on him, he's basically like a lieutenant that can also, boost troops around him, which is really good. Though few people use on me, which they should. Still, Joris a bit on the defensive. He has the 2nd armor, launches a 2nd wave here. He can still toss plenty of BARs on his men, and one should note he has not upgraded anyone with double BARs, though that tends to be the best. Also the rifle they need to get out, that is is structurally not very sane. There you go, pushing up here, Pack 40 caught in a bad position. Also gives us away its position there to Lom. That makes it harder there for Joris, of course, to defend against the Stewart. Rather than playing out the eastern side, well, that's the captain specific supported here by the Stewart. Rather than about here, more to push to far away, allowing the Stewart to clear out the forces here. So right now, Joris is positions of Mortimer being heavily compromised. There's Lock Link to the White Peer Grenadiers annihilated. Quite a loss there for Joris and the 15th Panzer Grenadiers. Second squad down in service of the Reich. They were heroes. And we got paratroopers here for Lom. Paratroopers. 82nd Airborne storming in to support the 2nd Armoured to push his objectives further. More Grenadiers there for Joris, not say Panzer Grenadier. And at the same time we got take up here for the 15th. So paratrooper squad here could throw on Thompsons, could throw on light machine guns. On a map like this both could easily work out nicely. Personally though I do prefer the Thompsons because with tactical assault in the right situations you can actually cause wipe, plus combined with on me you can actually wipe even retreating units at a pretty good health state, as Dave has displayed brilliantly in previous matches. So I mean this would be a pretty good combo there for Lom to consider. It's only a bit tricky to pull off, but if he does pull it off, good lord, the results are explosive. Stewart there finally Commander 5 from the Pack 40. Gains veterans 1 at the same time, more pressure for the western fuel point, very good. No smoke screens though, so the Germans can quickly lock that down with an MD-42 covering the Pioneers' advance. Alright, forwards, but how about the machine gun gewehr? Don't worry, it can't hit us. How? It has, the bullets don't hurt Germans, that's just how it works. They just don't hurt Germans. Look at this, they're passing right through me. It is, I don't know what we actually call this. Germanium? Copium? I don't know, it just works. Stop questioning it. You got pairs with the light machine guns, but they have taken quite a thrashing there already, having done minimal damage. So they're probably running into either the mortars or a very well fired rifle grenade there from Joris. Joris remains in the defensive, and certainly Lom is paying a bit of a price, of course, for such aggressive tactics, partly because he keeps the tank head on and there's no smoke or anything else there. Losing the mortars certainly also helps a lot, and the mortars can definitely do a lot of damage. See Joris actually building a bunker to defend the carve point, making it harder for Lom here to do his tactics. Not a bad move at all, but the Pioneers are quickly being focused out, and that cancels Joris' bunker plan versus Lom and the 2nd Armoured. He's going to have to do something a bit more drastic to throw off Lom, and Lom just needs to be a bit more careful with his units, I think. I mean, he is pushing his luck very far, and there you go, almost losing the captain to the double mortars. Again, the mortar battery is proving to be a very efficient tactic. Shattering Americans and crates alike. Quick rifle grenade there, easily dodged there by Lom here versus Joris. So Palmer Core there being built by Joris. He's only going to need something with a bit more heft here to challenge Joris. I mean Lom. Lom on the other hand probably could easily benefit now from just taking out and pushing for some medium armor as fast as possible here versus Joris. I mean the faster you get a Sherman or Scott, the more pressure you can put on Joris and just, you know, more finalise the fight here. But denying him the Pack 47 not a bad idea, though it's obviously running into some issues there. Pathing issues unfortunately there for Lom. Wipes it. Probably would have been wiped either way, but he could have gotten a bit closer to his own lines. And he's still going to try it. Just need to be sure to retreat his units because, again, they're going to be within range of the double mortars. Where did the other one go? Well, it's all the way over there, slightly shifting things up. So back here, reinforcements. Take up there going on for Lom. Joris going for the Stuke 3G to support his men to fight the American Scourge. While the paratroopers they're holding up their 2 Browning light machine guns, air cooled. Lincoln is advancing without a light machine gun, though that's going to be quite an expensive adventure. Interesting enough, he could try and close in with grenades, but he's probably worried there's going to be machine guns supporting Joris there, so instead he's just going to pull back behind heavy cover and just try to prevent him from getting the point for as long as possible. Of course, he doesn't know there's no machine gun within sight, but on the other hand, there's a mortar there, and Joris is very quick to employ it to, you know, suppress the paratroopers. We couldn't just lay it on the smoke screen, which would render them completely useless, allowing his gunners to easily get closer, but he's going to try and kill them instead. That's certainly also a functional option here. Rifle being split up by the MD-42. losses being inflicted as Karl is cut to ribbons. Slaughtered, and there go Ravnik mortified against the paratroopers. Cover shattering, and the paratroopers almost popped out. Oh, they're going to get wiped, they're going to get wiped, they're going to focus down. Lomner pushed them too far beyond, and they got wiped. Quite a loss there for Lom. Quite an expensive unit. Didn't actually do that much damage in the end. Joris maintains a stalwart defensive versus Lom, who can soon act to begin calling in tanks. Almost got the infantry then engaging head on with the BARs. Noting he is, by the way, I think still not double upgraded them, which is still a bit of a surprise. He's got 300 munitions just floating about and could be doing a lot more damage here to Joris' infantry if we just were to double upgrade them. That's a bit of a curious choice there. Captain, they're pushing ahead for the calf point. Losing paratroopers, quite expensive there for Joris. Quite expensive, and the captain there's going to be winning line of 5 with the 2 mortars. Pioneers moving in, but getting swept away by the captain and his accurate fire. Need to retreat the captain now, though. He does seem to overstay his welcome at times. Lom, Stuke, pulling forward. They're going to engage the Stuke. Stuke needs to get out of there. Oh, he's going to get panzer-fausted right in front of the Stuke. That's pretty bad. They've got the Pack 40 trying to set up support here, but it might just be fast enough. In the west here, right from the Grenadiers. Up close, the BRs do win even versus the light machine gun. Shoot the advancing major moving forwards. There he goes, Stuart. Oh, he's going to stand and trying to get. There we go. Almost got this Duke. The major that dies as the house collapses. A major loss for Lom and the 2nd Armoured, losing one of his most senior officers to the Germans. In this case, not very safe structures. Another Pack 40 out here for Joris and the 15th Panzer Grenadiers. Stuart keeps need to pull back. Pack 40 could also do with being forced a bit back, and he can easily go for Sherman now, and he's going for a Jackson instead to help deal with the Stuke, which is supposed to be an option, but if you can flank it with the Sherman instead, much better. Plus, you can then use the Sherman afterwards to support infantry versus Joris' infantry, plus it access to smoke. So, I feel like a Sherman here would be overall a smarter choice on many levels. Much smarter choice. That is just my opinion, obviously. So we'll have to see how that works out. Grenadier, they're setting up. We got the mortars securing territory. He's not afraid of using his mortars for a bit of dirty frontline work. Lom, though, still remains in map control, but it is slowly waning away there due to incessant pressure from Joris, and of course much more careful tactical approach with Joris, minimizing casualties while aiming to increase them on Lom here. Stuart after this Stuart, getting a good hit off there. Jackson arrives for Lom as approach goes up for the center of the rifle and the captain. Also small move at the west. We got bunkers going up to defend the western fuel. Very good work there. Joris actually aiming to make use of bunkers to that way free up men. Of course, just make it harder there for Lom to rush him. So good play there by Joris. Good play in that regard. Certainly commendable. Certainly commendable. And certainly recommend what they're going to do. They're getting blasted by the rifle with the BARs. He's got a lot of munitions floating. Still, he hasn't upgraded any of his units with the very excellent double BARs there, which I certainly feel like is a bit of a missed opportunity there by Lom, to be honest here, versus Joris. Would easily make it much easier from just inflict heavy casualties on Joris rather than currently. Again, he's just sort of getting some damage in, but not enough. And there you go. Stuart goes down here to the Stu Pack 40 combo, denying Lom there his light armor and a way of sort of keeping Joris' infantry in check. And a unit there got wiped. The captain bit the dust to heavy German mortar fire. Certainly looking rough there. Certainly looking rough there. Another mortar hit there. The mortars are quickly proving themselves lethal. Veteran 3 and Veteran 2. This mortar battery is paying off massively for Joris and the 15th Panzer Grenadiers. In the west here we got rifle pushed back by the Grenadiers, caught out in the open. There's no chance but backwards. Panzer Grenadier there on the way for Joris as well. No Doctrine though for Joris. No Doctrine. We are hitting the 20-minute mark, so that's certainly something that could be improved upon. At least in my opinion. Stuke there hanging back. Veteran to 1, halfway to Veteran to 2. Grenadier advancing, and there you go. Final doctrinal choice. It is assault support. Officers. Opel Blitzes. Plenty of air support. And a Tiger tank also available there from the reserves. But now Joris is much more confident versus Lom. Lom again, while aggressive in his tactics. I think again floated too much munitions without really utilising to just further push his advantage. And also made some mistakes here and there. Plus, you know, that mortar really has proven to, you know, be something that bit him in the arse quite severely. He definitely, I think, needs to use these munitions more efficiently. Even if he's planning on relying a bit on P-47s. I mean, there's no real armour for a long time, so I mean, he could easily push for more BRs, and that's why he pushed for a strong advantage. Other got an Opel Blitz out here for the German army, for Joris. Fun fact, they also made a half-track version of this known as the Opel Maultier, which used tracks from the Universal Carrier, amongst other things, you know, to form sort of a half-track vehicle for the Eastern Front. Grenadiers pushed back here by the Scot. Nice hit there, wipes off the Grenadiers. Also got a Sherman on the way for this Lom. He's still not upgrading his rifle, and he's certainly also starting to look a bit short than infantry compared to Joris. I think another unit there could do good for Lom. All Pioneers there being caught in a very bad position. But still, no double VARs there for Lom. No double VARs. Gonna do something, flanking the Scot there with a Panzerfaust. Schnell, Helmut, die Panzerfaust. Good hit there on the Scot. Leaving a lossless maneuver there for Lom. Stuke blasting. We could add some machine guns to it if you wanted to for a bit of added anti-infantry. Certainly benefits to Stuke, in my opinion. And crashes Joe. But moves straight in front of the Jackson escort there for Joris' stronger shots. Damaging as well. Support called in. Pack 40 sending up Grenadiers moving ahead, but it's going to be too late here, I think. And there you go. P-47's moving in. Almost got the Jackson. But the Stuke goes down. Stuke goes down. Jackson on the other hand goes down to Panzerfaust. So losses on both sides. But certainly I don't think something Lom can easily afford. And I think Joris now is actually playing for a Tiger tank. He's got plenty of fuel there, and he's slowly setting up on manpower. But there you go. Sherman tank out for Lom. Scott almost good to go again. High close around, but there you go. Roughing off the roughing. Oh! Heavy cover in this case saved them. Scott good to go. Need to retreat the rifling before they get taken out by the mortars. Again, those mortars have proven massively useful there for Joris. Massively. Got the Scot sitting out there. It's 75mm howitzer. And Telemines down here to help deal with any flanking armour from Lom. Very good force up there by Joris. But he's clearly aiming up for a Tiger tank here. Bit risky, all things considered. So I'm not entirely sure it was recommended, but it seems to be working out. That we get a Obelisk while securing the munitions, giving him a lot more munitions. In fact, he's getting over 60 per minute. And in the centre, Rifleman getting absolutely pummeled by heavy fire. German sitting about there. Oh, he might actually run into the Telemine. He's also not switching out to hard close rounds, which is likely due to him, you know, worried about more tanks coming soon enough, so he wants to be ready for it, rather than having to, in the middle of an engagement, switch armour rounds. Rounds, their rule. And what's Telemine? Jackson on the way again. Goes out there, wipes the mortar. Wipes the mortar. Quite a loss there for Joris. Rifleman almost being wiped out though, which will certainly, I think, more than mitigate this issue. So there's going to be one less infantry squad for Lom and the 2nd Armoured. Nope. Oh! Ah! In the end, he didn't quite make it through. The Germans got the bastard. Scott hanging back a bit there. And Ralph Scott there falling back this time in time, ensuring they do not suffer a rather fatal demise. Rather than here, actually engaging, pushing back the Pioneers. Pentagon is also retreating in the face of this. We've got the Scot moving in there. Might also had an effect on it, since the Pentagon would then have been more vulnerable to actually getting wiped by the Scot. And the thing is, the Scots sort of reasonably good at, you know, wiping units, and Pacific get 2 of them, the Scot becomes really excellent. There you go, good hit, Grenadiers there, force back as well. Another Jackson out there for Lom, hopefully we'll do a bit better here, and Joris is very close to the Tiger tank. He's got more than got the fuel, he just needs the manpower to get there. He's also almost got ready here with a strafing run, with some Luftwaffe support. Troop shielding reinforcing. Riflemen versus Grenadiers, right from there pushed back. And there we go, Scot fire, good hit on the machine gun. Interesting enough, Joris is not recruiting his mortar, but there you go, Tiger arrives here to support the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division. Sent in from a nearby 102nd SS Schwere Panzerabteilung, which was formed from the Heavy Panzer Company that was part of the 2nd SS Panzer Division before it was removed very quickly, since they were rather swiftly moving towards having been, you know, more independent heavy tank battalions to be attached wherever needed. Oh, 8 Tiger be moving in there. Pack forward they're coming, they're going to do, but can't quite successfully do so. And there you go, tank flanks the Sherman, Panzer strikes with the fury of 1,000 Reichs, engaging on the Sherman head-on. Jackson returns to fire to 9mm gun, failed to penetrate. We got air support called in here by Joris, suppressing any infantry that might cause problem for the Tiger tank. Pack 45 from the front, Jackson needs to pull back, Sherman goes down, filled with smoke. The rifleman pinned down, and then to tank rifleman it went off too soon. Scott next target here, heavy damage inflicted, Panzer was there dodging a shot. Jackson almost gets the Tiger tank. Paratroopers flanking in, need to be careful, they need to be careful. Got the Tiger tank still about, and plus other nasty things. Grenade here would be good, but instead gets caught out in front of the MD-42. Another hit there on the Tiger tank by the Jackson. Paratroopers being suppressed. He's going to try and push ahead here. Pack 40 sitting up on the flank though. Oh, he's going to get punished here. Joris, or Lump's going to get punished here by Joris. There you go. Damaged engine, Panzerfaust and Pack 40. The most potent combination here that leaves the Jackson rather mained out in the open and about to get lit up. So quite a loss there for Lom that could have been avoided, but he really wanted that Tiger dead, and he was more than willing to risk it. In this case, it turned out he hadn't quite factored in everything, and Joris just pummeled him pretty badly. Jackson kaput. A glorious victory there for Germany. And the air support pretty much prevented any remaining infantry from Lom to be able to support during all of this. So it's just down to Scott now here versus a Tiger tank and a lot more infantry. So while Lom has had an advantage, again, it largely came down to, you know, not quite fully utilising it. So now it's more on the defensive versus Joris. On the other hand, I would say has put much better use of his resources against Lom. Got the Scot moving ahead. Can't quite seem to land a hit there on the Grenadiers though, be unfortunate. I imagine it's the heavy cover that's having a bit of an effect there. Panzer Grenadiers standing about, penetrating for the centre there. But caught by the MD-42 now, Vets 23 here. Loading bar, still only one BAR on the rifleman. No double BRs here for Lom. Looks like he's trying to set up for another P-47 structure that way, trying to demolish the Tiger tank when he can then catch it in some position. 40 on the hand is the one getting caught here by the Grenadiers. They advance. Hey, setz out, Panzer auf der Kanone. Get those bastards. Schnell. There we go. Tiger breaches from the mother gun. This thing lost there. Ludwig being flung away. His corpse battered and broken. So 15 kills to victory on the Scot. Another Jackson for Lom. Another Jackson here for the second armament. Tiger there hanging about. No pin machine gun added for that one. And the Pack 40 there grabbing the eastern victory point. As Lom does have a lead there over Joris, and Joris wants none of that. He is taking no chances in this engagement. And a Stu following up to support the Tiger. Very good work there. No Fuhrer syndrome on display, nor any Stalingrad syndrome. Maybe a bit from Lom, whereas Joris has been, I think, displaying a much better sort of grasp on the map, though he hasn't quite been able to exercise it so well in the early half. Jackson setting out there. Scott got the anti-tank moving about as well there. Rifleman setting out. Go Pack opening up in the Tiger tank. Gets a good penetrating rifle dealing with the Grenadiers. And there you go. Target weak point. Stunning the Tiger. We got a Pack 4. They're covering the Tiger as well. Troopers standing about the center. Not quite able to move ahead. Taking great from the mortar. Half the unit white there. Looking pretty bad here for Lom. More air support ready there by for Joris. No smoke screens or anything is advancing on the victory point. Scott continues though to do quite a bit of work there against Joris' Grenadiers. But sadly, Lom is getting not much anyway. He's now attacking into where Joris is most prepared. Which obviously it's going to be a lot harder here for Lom to make progress than say if it's only attack up the western side of the map, which would catch Joris much more off guard, moment time to run the bunker and whatnot. So in that regard, I think Lom is getting caught up a bit too much in just wanting what he considers this part of the map safe, rather than just trying to change, well, what is his then. Pun's going to be on the run, a lot of firepower there, and he's finally double upgraded some of his riflemen, but it has come, I would say, rather late here for Lom and the 2nd Armoured Division. You got into the armor pieces around, he's anticipating a move up the center. Good. Well, they've even got S-mines and the riflemen are suffering brutally for this. The assaults overall not being pretty. And we got Joris moving on to the next tier, just taking no chances here versus Lom whatsoever. He's not going to try and husband a ton of resources if he can avoid it. He could be spending his munitions a lot more efficiently, more mines, whatnot, but at least he's not, say, floating 500 munitions. Pairs are moving forward, trying to suppress the Grenadiers, but behind heavy coats it's going to be really difficult to do. Plus, we got more Grenadiers nearby, ultimately forcing back the paratroopers with high casualties for Lom. Getting ready for another push up here. Could try and push down the main road alongside this push, but oh well. Scott joining in with a few shots, rather getting plastered there. Scott doing what he can, but it's ultimately not much. Tiger there ready to engage it. Anti-tank and hanging back. And down here we got the Jackson. Lom's defenses are overall scattered, or force overall scattered. There you go, good hit by the Scott, almost wiping out the entire Grenadier squad. Moving forward, Scrooge advances, Jackson shoots back, Tiger advances as well. And we got air support called in from Joris, once more to suppress any and all infantry in the zone of operations. Very good work there. Double Panzerfaust from the Jackson, almost taking up BAR left behind here for Joris, and the 15th Panzer going to be shown to nab. Pack 40 setting up there, again, it's attempting to, but getting focused down here by Joris' Grenadiers, and there you go, going straight for the Jackson. There you go, work. Air support called in by Lom to try and stall here the German armoured assault, and there you go, gets the Jackson. P-47s though, get the Stroop with the rockets. Tiger that moves in, it does not care about the Yarbos, the Yak bombers or fighter bombers. Almost got the parents with their Scott left behind. Blitzkrieg forwards for Joris to finish off the job here versus Lom and the 2nd Armoured to punish the invaders of the fatherland. Almost got the Scott there. Rockets mostly hitting his own base now. I think the Panzers actually tried to pop a bomb grenade on the ambulance. Scott down. And now it's just down to the infantry squads from this. Lom surrenders. A loss here for the 2nd Armoured Division. A victory for Joris, and the 15th Panzer Grenadiers was rather close at the beginning of the game. Again, Lom had a very good strong advantage. Pushed his units very hard. Flanked and so on there. but he then began floating too much munitions, and also I think just on taking up, also began getting a lot more confident, a bit arrogant versus Joris, and Joris was more than able to punish this, causing Lom here quite grievous losses, and Lom was already struggling a bit to actually build up a larger force because his aggressive tactics did leave a few things to be decided, meaning he actually suffered higher losses. Plus, it also the mortar allowing Joris to get 2 mortars really basically meant a longer term game here. Joris could cause quite severe attrition, overall shrinking that way slowly but surely build ahead of Lom as well in terms of infantry. So there were some issues there for Lom, which again I think was compounded by just only getting 1 BAR on his troops rather than going for double BARs as soon as possible, which allowed him a lot more firepower and melted away Joris' infantry a lot faster, aiming over that way stronger domination versus the Germans. So that's definitely, I think, one of his big mistakes here versus Joris. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe to your friends, just share it with everyone. If not, send in a reply and find some feedback in the comment section. Of course, a big thanks to all my supporters on Patreon, without which this episode certainly would not be possible. So thank you all, and see you all tomorrow for another Sonic episode. Bye.